Hey, Kyla, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. I'm so glad to have you here. Kyla, you're brilliant. You've been building an investment education group at On Deck, which is where we connected, and now have really been jumping into this world of content creation and TikTok and FinTok. And so I'm so excited to have you and to share a little bit of your journey.
Yeah, no, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So to get us started, I would love if you could just share with us a little bit about how and why you got into this space, into the space of FinTalk, and then just in general investing.
Yeah, so I have been sort of involved in the markets for a while. I started trading options when I was in high school, and then majored in finance and economics in college, and then worked in asset management at a big mutual fund once I graduated school. So I've always been like really interested in finance and in investing and the idea of money. I'm from Kentucky, and so like one thing that I figured, I was like, okay, if I can understand money, like there's probably a way that I can, get out of Kentucky, even though I love it there. It's just like to grow. I was like, okay, gotta get out of here. And so like understanding money, it was like the best way to do that, I thought. And so I just was like really passionate about it and really I'm actually not that good of a trader. I just like understand. I think I understand like some aspects of the market like pretty deeply. Very much more so interested in like the structure versus actually implementation. So yeah, no, it's been fun. And then I have always been writing online. I started when I was a freshman in college because I was in Kentucky and there wasn't a lot of people trading options who were my age at that time. And so I wrote online, connected with other people, and then ever since then have sort of been just creating content. And then once I left my job in asset management in February, that's when I started making the TikTok videos because I'm just super passionate, as you are, right, about financial education. And so this is just my way of beginning to do that for myself and other people.
What role do you play in the wealth space, and why do you think it's important? And it could also be what role you hope to play.
Yeah, I mean, so like there's a couple of different roles. Like I think there's not a lot of finance content creators. Like there's maybe 10 of us. And we all know each other and stuff. So it's kind of funny in TikTok specifically. And so I think for me, like on Twitter most specifically, I feel like I can serve as maybe a point of like comedy for some like seasoned investors, and then some of my other content can be more educational for some newer investors. And with regards to like just the wealth space in general, like I think it's always fun to have like fun content because everybody takes themselves so seriously in finance, and it's like you can sort of poke fun at it. So I feel like I don't know if that's like what everybody would agree with, but like I do think that's sort of like a little niche that I've carved out for myself is like maybe the aspect of like financial comedy.
So one of the other posts that I had seen from you was some of the statistics on how people make decisions on how they invest. And I don't know if you could tell us a little bit more about that, but how people will often choose stocks based on the names that they know and recognize. And then, the third way might be like through meme or influencers. So I'm curious if you have any statistics on that and how that's evolved.
Not off the top of my head. I mean, I think like more people are like trying to figure out investing and they're approaching the markets in different ways. I think the GME and AMC situation has skewed the way that a lot of like newer retail investors would see the market, because now it's like, oh, this is actually like kind of scary. Like there's these people out here, on Wall Street that's sort of creating this weird environment.
So on that, what do you think has been the most exciting thing you've learned and or would want others to know as you've embarked on this journey of FinTalk and dove into exactly what you're talking about, all the sheer amount of content and get rich quick content?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like two aspects. Like one, there's as an investor, like there's a lot of bad content out there and you really have to be careful. And then number two is like a content creator. Like a lot of people think that, oh, like I'm not funny enough, like I'm not cool enough. I like to make content. It's like I'm not really that funny, like either, So I think there's like a lot of people sort of hold themselves back on that front, and they do want to sort of create their own brand. So I think like if you want to do that, you should. And then just like from the investing perspective, it's just you have to be cautious of what you take in and who you listen to, because your attention is very valuable.
How are you curating what you decide to post as content? And where do you get your sources of information?
Yeah. So I guess like for content schedule stuff, I'm still figuring that out. I'm A/B testing a lot of different ideas, like figuring out if daily market updates make sense, or like I do a weekly market update on YouTube. Like do I use TikTok as a primary platform? Because there becomes a point where the platform has so much power over you as a creator. So you're like trying to figure out which one is most equitable. And then in terms of like where I get my information, I read a lot of Bloomberg stuff. I listen to a lot of investors on Twitter who are credentialed, or not even credentialed, but who I've like vetted out and like, okay, they do seem to be like logical and they make sense. So Twitter is a pretty good resource for me. But yeah.
I would love to hear who is a person or company that inspires you in the space and why.
There's like one investor on Twitter that I really like just because he posts really like thoughtful ideas, and most of the time they're like I'm a macro investor, like I love monetary policy, I think it's really fascinating, and if you can tie that into investment thesis, I'm just like totally enthralled. I'm like, this is so cool. So his name is Alex Good, and I talk about him like all my YouTube videos, and like it's kind of a meme in the comments, like people are like, oh, the only person she listens to is Alex Good. But yeah, he used to work at a hedge fund. He's like very quantitatively good. So I would say like he gives me a lot of inspiration just because he's able to connect all these like disparate ideas. So.
And what advice would you give to somebody getting started in investing and I think FinTech?
Yeah, so I guess investing, like that can be hard. Like that's what stops a lot of people is figuring out how they want to invest and where they want to begin. So I think like just opening up a brokerage account and like just putting money in your first stock. So if you like have an iPhone, like buy Apple stock, just like purchase things that you personally use. I think that's like a great way to begin and do research. In terms of like being a content creator on FinTalk, just like create content. The audience will let you know if they like it or they don't like. And usually everybody has a pretty unique perspective in the space. Like some of us are more focused on personal finance. Some of us are more focused on like company breakdowns. And then I'm probably the one who's most focused on like macro stuff. So like I love talking about the Fed, but that creates value across the board. So yeah, I mean, I think like with both of those questions, like just do it.
I love it. Anything else you'd want to share?
I mean, I think a lot of people like talk about the creator economy at large, and I don't know if anybody in the audience is like VC or like invest in the creator economy, but I do think that there needs to be like more thoughtfulness around investing in the creator economy. I talked to several companies that are like building tools for creators, and like they haven't talked to a creator. So I think like there's right now this fundamental disconnect for how people think the creator economy is going to proceed and the companies that are being funded for the creator economy. I think there's a lot of cool ones being built, but maybe not getting the same amount of funding. So I think there just needs to be more creators like given the space, having the space to talk about the creator economy, and not necessarily me, right? Like just creators in general. So yeah, that would be like my one thing that I've just been thinking about a lot is like, how do you sort of support these creators? And I don't know if like Zuckerberg injecting $1 billion into the creator economy is like the perfect answer. It's a good answer, but I think there's a lot more work to be done from supporting creators across the board.
What are, 3 things that would support you as a creator better?
I mean, yeah, so I don't even think it's about me at this point because I do have like a full-time job. I have health, like I'm good. But I think like there just needs to be a little bit more consideration for monetization aspects. Like maybe a flat fee isn't the best thing if you're like paying them for an ad, like maybe pay based on impressions. Like maybe, if you are like a startup, like maybe there's an opportunity for creators to get equity in the company if they're doing work for you. And then I think like there just needs to be sort of, I think one thing I've been thinking about a lot is like sharing across creators, like a creator Glassdoor. Like I'm in a group chat with creators and we all talk about that sort of thing. So I think there just needs to be a lot more value add. And I think this isn't complaining at all, because like obviously like a lot of this is voluntary, but I just think there needs to be a little bit more thoughtfulness behind like how you value creators and how you think of the content that they put out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kyla. We'll be definitely sharing all of your handles and following you on this journey. Please keep it up. It's really funny and super informative. So
Appreciate it.
thanks so much.